Within a few minutes after the store opened, an off-duty police officer approached the counter in the hunting section. The store employee took one look at him and smiled, saying, "I like your shirt." "Thanks," the man replied. He smiled back, admitting that he gets that a lot. He was wearing one of those Bigfoot is real t-shirts. "Have you ever seen one?" the employee asked. "No, but I have friends who have. I trust their judgment, so their word is good enough for me." "Do you believe?" The employee looked over his shoulder before responding. "Yes, I've seen one before, and I have a friend out west who's had encounters." The officer nodded his head, then lowered his voice. "A friend and I were bass fishing from my boat in a small lake not far from here. We were the only ones out there, and as we worked our bait along sunken trees in the deeper water, my buddy asked if I'd ever explored the Mormon land. I said no, but have thought about it. That's when we first heard it. Behind us and to our left, we heard large branches snapping. My friend and I looked at each other and then back toward the noises. The sounds were coming from within a wooded area on private land owned by some Mormons. We don't know if it's owned by the church or someone within the church, but the area comprises thousands of acres, and we never see anyone on that side of the lake. We refer to it as the Mormon land. Anyway, the noises didn't last long, maybe a couple minutes, then stopped. My friend and I discussed what could have made all the noise, as nobody would likely be on that land. Well, at least not that close to the lake. After about 10 or 15 minutes of working our way closer to the beach, we listened for the smallest of noises, but didn't hear or see anything. My friend looked at me and asked if we should go look. That's when all hell broke loose. Sudden and deafening crashing sounds, followed by ground rumbling thuds and audible grunts. Then the snapping of large branches resumed with what sounded more like trees crashing to the ground. We both sat there frozen in shock and didn't notice that we were still moving closer and closer to shore. At that point, the boat was within 100 feet from the beach. Our minds tried to process what was happening, but neither of us saw anything moving until a huge tree stump came hurtling out from the woods towards us. It must have been 20 to 30 feet up in the air before crashing into the water a couple of boat lengths from us. Whatever or whomever was in there was strong enough to throw a stump that likely weighed several hundred pounds about 80 feet towards our boat. Can you imagine the sound a huge root ball would make crashing into the water like that? I can still hear it in my mind, as well as remember the sight of it flying. He added, "There's only one thing that can do that." The employee nodded and asked if they saw the Bigfoot. "No, but we both wish we did. It would help to better frame the event. You know, by knowing what it was. We've gone back to fish several times since then, but haven't had anything more happen. Friends have asked if we've ever gone back and into the woods to check things out. We have not, and to be honest, I'm not so sure we should." "What do you mean?" asked the employee. "It wasn't until we discussed going ashore to look around that all hell broke loose. I don't believe in coincidences, so to me, it wasn't until we talked about doing so that we received the reaction we did. What would happen if we went exploring? I don't want to find out.